This is Robert for Seconds Out with my old pal Don Charles.
How are you, Robert?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Obviously, we're living through the pandemic times. You know, I'm sure I've had close friends who suffered from it. Luckily, a lot of them came through it and lost a few people through the pandemic. You know, I'm sure it's widespread. You know, how about you?
Yeah, it's very similar, unfortunately, and we've had quite a few people at work who've had it quite seriously, but thankfully most of them are recovering well, so that's good. And of course, now on top of the pandemic, we've got this war in the Ukraine.
I mean, it's not one thing; it's another thing. You know, the world is. It's kind of there's a lot of changes in the you know you feel it in the air. There's a lot happening. You know, like you said, if it's not something like what we've all gone through in the past 2 years with the coronavirus, then you got the war that's taking place currently as we speak in Ukraine. You know, it's very unfortunate.
So, from a boxing perspective, what have you been up to, Don?
Like usually, obviously, I'm no exception. We've all just come through or coming through the pandemic. It's still about, obviously, the bubble. We were all fortunate to be able to boxers to contest inside the bubble, which is no longer. Audiences are allowed into the venue, so that's very good for the industry going forward. And me personally, yeah, I call this the gym. We're currently in my gym. I call it the kitchen where the meal's prepared in terms of I train fighters. That's what I do for a living. So I'm always in the kitchen cooking up the next recipe.
Just before we started this interview, you were training a young lady.
Correct. That's as well as training professional boxers. I also train individuals who want to learn. After all, boxing is an art. If you go to, there's no difference in going to learn karate, any jiu-jitsu, any martial art, and boxing is a member of the martial art family. So, you know, people come here for various reasons to learn the art of boxing and also whilst gaining a good fitness level.
So, without further ado, I think we've got to talk about some of this heavyweight boxing that's coming up, seeing that that's your speciality.
Yeah.
Former trainer of Derek Chisora, of course, current trainer of your son, George Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Harry
Armstrong.
Harry Armstrong, who's also an up-and-coming heavyweight. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about two fights in particular. The first one is Fury versus White. Mm-hmm. Is it going to happen?
Well, I pray for the industry that it does. I don't see why not. I mean, there's a lot of politics going on. There always is politics in boxing. There shouldn't be, but it is there. Yeah, the fight should go ahead. Everything points to it taking place, you know, from what I've read, heard, you know, yeah.
So if we talk about the shenanigans, perhaps they're not political, perhaps they're psychological. Are some of these shenanigans being put in place to affect the fighters? Do you think it will have an effect on Fury?
Well, in terms of Dylan's stance, no, it won't actually affect the fight. Obviously, the promotional aspects of it, yes, in the sense that I don't know about you, I don't believe there's ever been in history of a fight, especially of this magnitude, where the opponent or the other part hasn't turned up to promote the fight. I haven't ever witnessed that. Have you?
I can't recall it. No.
So it's unique, and Fury being the charismatic entertainer, salesman, you saw what he did in the first press conference. He improvised, and you know, it's a one-man show. And that fight, I'll be honest with you, that fight, yes, of course, any publicity you can get will increase how many spectators that you get to watch. I think the fight sells itself. But if Dylan came, the more involvement you have with Dylan, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm actually, as a fan, very disappointed. I'll tell you why. I was looking forward to the press conferences between Dillian White and Tyson Fury. So we, the fans, have actually missed out on that. I don't want to get involved with the politics of why he didn't. We know what he's alluding to, why he didn't show up. But it is disappointing because, like I said, I'm a fan, and like other fans worldwide, we've been denied of that entertainment because the press conferences is a part of it.
So when you say we all know why he didn't show up, but you're assuming...
No, when I said we all know why, he said why. He said because they're not paying him what he believes that he deserves, so therefore he's not contractually obliged to take part in promoting the fight.
That's what he said.
That's what's been documented.
So let's move on from what we're talking about, the shenanigans, the politics, the PR of it. How do you see the actual fight?
Wow. Well, I speak from first-hand experience, yeah. First and foremost, Dillian deserves his chance. Okay, he's been waiting for a lifetime to get this opportunity. How do I see the fight panning out? Yeah, right. I've been, like I said, I've witnessed firsthand where I've trained an individual to try and fight Fury. Okay, and the guy, I described him in various interviews I've given in the past as a chameleon. Yeah, where this guy has got Fury. He's got the ability to adapt. He's got the ability to change colors. So it's very, very hard to prepare for somebody who's able to rip up your game plan in front of you, and there's not a lot you can do about it. I've experienced it twice obviously with Derek Chisora. Okay, I was so convinced in the second fight with Fury and Chisora that we were going to get an emphatic victory over Fury, and guess what? He made it easier. Fury made it easier. He won easier than he did in the first fight with Chisora. And that's when I became a fan of his. And when I salute him for having, like I said, that ability to be able to rip up your script and right in front of you. He's got that ability. He's that special.
I know your son also trains in the camp sometimes with Fury. Is he training in this next camp?
Yeah, he has previously in the previous 3 fights with when Fury fought Wilder. For the 3 camps, he was enrolled to help out. He played quite a key role in as one of the sparring partners. And no, he hasn't been invited back for this camp purely. There's a lot of reasons. George, stylistically, is not DILLIAN WHYTE, okay? And his services weren't needed for this one.
Okay, great. So from that, what do we take the victory? You're shouting out for a victory for Fury. Yeah. How do you see the victory?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a boxing purist. I'm a coach, and like I said, it's not beyond DILLIAN WHYTE to pull off a victory. It's not beyond him. It depends of how Fury approaches the fight. Okay, it depends on. I'm not going to expand on that. I'm not at liberty to do so. It depends on how Fury approaches the fight. I do see right now. I only see a Fury victory. Yeah, but there is that but. This is boxing, number one. Number two is a heavyweight boxing. Yeah, anything can happen. Like I said, it's all down to how Fury approaches this fight. Yeah.
Do you see it as a points victory for Fury or a stoppage?
If I say a late stoppage, I wouldn't be. That's my opinion. Okay, I have my reasons for that opinion. But like I said, this is boxing, and also the fact that Dillian has locked himself away in Portugal. Yeah, this is his chance, opportunity to make history. Yeah, to rewrite history, and somebody with that type of ambition. And he's waited and waited, yeah. I wouldn't dare or to write him off. Yeah.
He's got the hunger, you think?
He's got the hunger. He's got all the makeup. This has got all the makeup of what we call an upset in boxing. It has, yeah, for various reasons. Because when you fighting somebody the more you engage, i.e., the meetings, the press conferences, you draw certain elements from the opposition. And the fact, it's about getting to know the enemy, if you know what I mean. The fact, you get a feel of them, body language, psychology, everything. The fact Fury is not getting a measure or a feel, you know, after all, Fury is a human being and he breathes oxygen, yeah? So therefore, he too will be not drawing what he would, because Fury is a master of press conferences. Yeah, I've witnessed it on 2 occasions where I've been involved in the opposition camp, and he, like the great Muhammad Ali, the fights won. Part of the fight is won during these encounters, press conferences, where he's able to get into the opponent's head and distort it. Whereas, because Dillian's absence, Fury hasn't been able to administer that. So that's a factor in the sense. So it's almost like I'm not sure when Dillian's going to turn up. Will he turn up for the further press conferences? He has to turn up for the weigh-in. Maybe the only time, I'm just speculating here, maybe the only time Dillian will turn up is during the weigh-in. And in some cases, it's like, wow, the shape he would turn. I'm expecting him to turn up in the best. He has to turn up in the best possible physical shape and mentally shape that he's ever been in.
Okay, great. So that's a pretty good, detailed view of the Dillian White Fury fight. Of course, there's another great super heavyweight fight in the offing, which is the rematch between AJ, Anthony Joshua, and Oleksandr Usyk. Your views on that one, particularly also Usyk being away, is coming back from the war in Ukraine. That might play a part. Your views?
My 100%. He's a human being. I always refer to the fact that we're all humans at the end of the day. We all have very similar mind. Some of us have stronger mind than others. I'm quite surprised that Usyk has left the war, which is still going on as we speak. I don't make sense of it to actually come out that I am now going to fight in my profession. I find that quite bizarre, to be quite honest. And what kind of mental state would he be in? And what kind of preparation? In terms of preparation, I'm sure he'll prepare. It's mainly mental state. The war in his country, homeland, would be in his head. Why are you doing this? Why are you
at this time?
This time, I think, when I didn't believe it when I first heard that he's, leaving, coming out of the war zone to come and have a fight. I don't think the timing is right for him to do this.
Talking about the fight a little bit more forensically, AJ, first time under a new coach. What are your views there?
By the way, that coach, Angel Fernandez, he has always been in AJ's camp in recent times, so it's not new in the sense that he's familiar with AJ. So I believe he's now been promoted as the head coach. He's a very good coach, and I believe he's also the coach of Richard Riakpo, who recently won at the weekend. He's a very good young coach with new ideas, and you know, sometimes change is good. You know, what Robert had achieved with AJ is unquestionable, and there should be very, very. If I was in Robert's shoes, I'd be very, very proud of what he got AJ as an Olympian to go and achieve. You know, in terms of the new coach, I think you're going to see improvements. He's now got the feel. AJ's been in there. He's got the feel of Usyk, what power Usyk possesses or possessed, and they would have had longer time now to work on the southpaw tactics. I mean, coincidentally, AJ won his world title off the back of beating a southpaw in Charles Martin. Yeah, but obviously, Usyk is a different gravy southpaw, you know, so they're going to be working how to try and equalize the last result.
A lot of people are saying they can't see a route for AJ to win this fight. Can you?
Well, that's their opinion. This is a boxing match. This is a heavyweight contest. One thing you can't deny with AJ, he's explosive and he's got that equalizer, which is the right hand. After having gotten the feel of Usyk, yeah, he knows what the team know what to do next, how to devise a game plan to take it to Usyk.
A lot of people said in the first fight that they were surprised with AJ's inability to adapt, something that you said Fury does so well. Do you think now with the new head coach, having had the feel that you just suggested, you will see an adaptation or a new game plan that stands a much higher chance of success?
Yeah, well, definitely. There has to be, and there will be, because, like I said, this young man, what he meant, and he's also a southpaw, there's a lot to take into account. But if you're asking me, how do I see it panning out? After looking at a few factors, like I said, about Usyk being a human being, leaving that war, what's his mental state going to be like? Well, I don't know what is this about. Listen, each to their own. Is it money? I can't see. I admire him for first and foremost going to represent his country and surrendering the belts, or not surrendering the belts. They were, I don't know. He didn't surrender them. He didn't relinquish them, did they? So he's still the champion. So I admired him for that. But to then, whilst the war is still on, to suddenly, I'm going to go and fight. It plays a big part, in my opinion, what the outcome will be of this fight.
So from Don's perspective, we've got a middle round victory for AJ and a late stoppage potentially for Fury. You've heard it here, seconds out. Thanks, Don.
It's only my opinion.
That's all we asked for.
Thank you.
Thanks.